you guys want to say something. But so I today I finally sat down. I watched a certain let's just put it this way without naming names, but a certain interesting priest here on YouTube who has recently come out holding at least the Sedevacantist position for this current pope, right?
Father Altman?
Yeah, Father Altman. I know. I just never know.
Somebody asked in the comments, did you see Father Altman's video today? I haven't. What was
So
it?
I watched it. It's like, I think it's like 20, 30 minutes long or something like that. Quality wise, like just the aesthetic level, pretty epic video, not going to lie. But so, okay, I'll say this. I don't agree with his final conclusion because I have studied the scholastic debates around the idea of a heretical pope. And so I know that there's a lot of nuance and a lot of detail to it. But on another more subjective level, the thing that I will at least applaud him over is that he lists off 20 of just the absolutely insane things that have been going on right now. And when you look at, for instance, the intentional sweeping under the rug of these predators, right, reassigning them and then reassigning the friends of these predators to commissions like the John Paul Commission on the Family, and then getting pro-abort atheist feminists, right, on the Pontifical Academy for Life. That is not the Catholic Church. Now, I will say this again. I do believe that Pope Francis is the Pope because I hold generally the position of John of St. Thomas, Cardinal Cajetan, the Dominican school of thought. And if you want to know more about that, I'll make a video on it. Trust me. But I do think that what we're going into when it comes to the world and when it comes to like secular society and the church, it's very clear that we're in the days that Our Lady of Good Success prophesied. I know that Father Isaac, I think he mentioned her whenever he was on the show with you guys, right? Our Lady of Good Success. If you guys don't know that apparition, go check it out. Fully approved by the church. She literally says, again, in the mid-20th century, hordes of Freemasonry will open up the pits of hell and corruption shall spread. There will be evil priests that will scandalize the faithful and make the lives of good priests harder. The sacraments will become much less frequent. Children will be corrupted. But what's the good news about all this? The final thing she says is that when all seems lost, then there'll be a great period of restoration. I do think we are in for a time of restoration.
Yeah, I think that we're going to see that. I really do. I think that we're going to get to the point where we think all hope is lost. And I think that people really need to prepare themselves for how bad it's going to, like, you guys think it's bad now. It's going to get much worse. And it's going to scandalize a lot of us. And your faith is going to be tested and tried. It really is. I'll say this about Altman, because a lot of people are saying pray for Father Altman. I walked out of his talk at the Cancel Priest Conference. Not even so much for his opinion. I've heard many people come to the conclusion they don't think Francis is the Pope. What I saw was him riling up a crowd, a room full of people, saying things, and the people were like, yeah, cheering. And I'm like, it just seemed like a dark spirit coming over people.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to.
A spirit of bitterness there, which, like, again, like the thing that I did see one person comment, I think it was on his video, was like, when you're being persecuted, right, as, like, for instance, if you're in the place of Christ being persecuted, then receive it as the person of Christ. Now, remember, Christ did not get up and accuse his accusers and point the finger. Now, does that mean that we necessarily never speak? No, but I would say that when you speak, you look at the way, again, I blow this horn all the time, but you look at the way, as an example, that Archbishop Lefebvre handled all the stuff that came toward him. He said some very strong stuff, but when you go back and you listen to his recordings, it is coming from a man who is almost like weeping with sadness at Christ's bride being abused. It was never a personal vendetta for himself.
If you read his letter to confuse Catholics, I mean, that comes across so well, right? It just is his love for the church and for everyone in the church, and his love for Christ.
I hope that's how we're coming off, right? Like, I don't know what's going on. I try to always be clear about that. Like, I don't know, guys. So if you're looking for me to come down hard on an opinion, like this is what you should do, you're not going to get it, because I'm really trying my best to just remain humble about things, and I'm just trusting that God knows what's going on from all eternity. I believe that we still have the true presence of Christ in the Eucharist in the church, and we can't leave that. So, like even Nick saying, like it's as if there are two churches under this church. It seems that way, right? Like I don't know how that works theologically. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, if you just look at like just on a philosophical level, the basic idea of a body, it's like if there's just two groups inside of the church with two different ends, then there you go. It can be as simple as that.
Yeah.
But I fully agree with you, Anthony, because it's like someone asked me the other day, like with all this stuff going on, they're like, and I posted about it on Facebook, why don't you just become Orthodox? Why don't you just go become Protestant again or something like that? I will never, by God's grace, I will never, by God's grace, leave the Catholic Church for many reasons. Number one, because my Protestant faith was absolutely destroyed by the early fathers, completely and utterly destroyed. And number two, I can never go to Orthodoxy because all the reasons that I have problems right now with a lot of issues inside that the conciliar church is pushing is the same stuff that's going on in Orthodoxy, right? It doesn't matter how pretty the liturgy is.
Oh yeah, there's no escape from it. And even in Sedevacantism, like you look at those guys, none of them agree with each other. The only thing they agree on is Novus Ordo Sect. Like,
yeah, I always tell people like I'm the most chill person when it comes to the Sedes, but like I can never be one because to me it does seem like the ultimate spiritual black pill. But at the end of the day, like I will never, by God's grace, I will never leave the church. But that's why I encourage people like go and find good parishes that won't get destroyed, right? So that's why I always recommend like SSPX chapels or priories. Go find places like that and then build a good, solid community around that. Because trust me, when you're by yourself and your only main Catholic connection is like here online, you only get so far, right? I love the Telegram chat. You guys are awesome. Your guys' conversation are absolutely hilarious, right? And you guys edify each other very well. I think that's great.
I'll tell you, I will say something about our Telegram. Our Telegram is different from every other Telegram.
Dude, it is. That's the truest statement. Absolutely. It is. It's a fire Telegram. It's amazing.
We like I've seen the other Telegrams out there. They're all arguing with each other. Like our Telegram is like just genuine friends.
I was gonna say I consider everyone in that Telegram like a good friend, honestly.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. But I'm like, go seek out community in real life as well, like where you're at, and change the culture around you. Because like, look at St. Mary's, Kansas, the greatest example in the United States, right? That's an entire town filled with holy people who are striving after the true faith, and the fruit of it is the Immaculata. Now, I'm not saying that that's going to happen overnight where you live, but if you start small, finding good people, coming together for catechism, teaching your children, praying the rosary every single night, going to the traditional mass, right, every day if you're able to, then that's going to set you off on a great standard, and you're going to be protected, and you can live that Catholic life and be strengthened for the times ahead.
Yeah, Mike